up as a teenager, I began to feel the pressures of life. Confined by my church, enticed by my neighborhood friends, I rebelled and I rushed headfirst into the unknown. I felt like I was more comfortable running from my problems than I was solving them. I was living a fast and reckless existence, never taking the time to stop and visualize what I wanted my life to look like in 10, 20, or 30 years. Enter my mom. That person in my life who always saw more potential in me than I ever did. One night, I'm sitting at the dinner table with my dad, who's a chess instructor, and he's telling me about how things had gone that day with his students. My mom, while cooking dinner, overhears the conversation. She walks out of the kitchen, and she returns with a chessboard and pieces. She dumps them on the table in front of us. She looks at my dad, and she emphatically says, "Teach your son how to play chess." My mom had a way of making things happen. And that night, my dad sat with me, and he taught me well. And he gave me the tools that I needed to begin my chess journey. But I had no idea how this moment would change the trajectory of my life. In the game of chess, I was like the pawn, facing a long, hard road. Pawns are the big dreamers. They only move one square at a time. But due to their ambition, their persistence, their tenacity, if they make it to the other side, they can take on the rank of any piece that they choose, including the queen, who is the most powerful piece on the board, a piece that can move in any direction. So although pawns may start off as the weakest link, they can prove to be the strongest tool in the end. But the more I learned chess, I came to realize that in order to be a good chess player, it was so much more involved than just learning the unique rules of each piece. I had to lean into each piece's strength while simultaneously safeguarding against their weaknesses being exploited. And in this way, I was forced to think forwards and backwards, and always beginning with the end in mind. Therefore, we change what it means to being famous. It's being flexible, aware, mindful, original, unswayed, and swift, to know that every move I made counted and everything was speaking to me. For example, the knight is the one piece that can jump and sidestep obstacles directly in front of it. So like the knight, I moved 2 squares straight and 1 to the side. Like the rook, I moved up and down, learning to balance life's peaks and valleys. The bishop's strength is that it moved diagonal only. And I knew my life would never be a straight line, but a diagonal journey, forwards and backwards, with problems and circumstances challenging me, and people mentoring me to help shoulder those difficult losses and celebrate the victories. I was beginning to see my life on this chessboard and moving ahead. But as the pawn continued to remind me, one move forward at a time. And chess began to parallel my own life experience. You see, losing to an opponent, it was not a failure, but more of an opportunity to learn, to fail forward. After each loss, I would meticulously review the game to see where I went wrong. And I came to understand that every move counts. And the decisions that I made in each moment had a massive impact on the outcome of the game. The more I played, the more I lost. But the more I improved. Making mistakes was inevitable. But what mattered most was my response. You see, learning from these setbacks was beginning to resonate with me as a young adult. This game of chess was building my resilience and shaping who I was becoming. I practiced and I prepared for 2 years before ultimately winning first place in a local chess tournament. But the big wake-up call was the amount of preparation that stood behind one successful performance. But I saw myself evolve from an instant gratification seeker to a strategic planner. The practice, the planning, the tenacious hard work was unleashing my greatness as I began to play at an elite level. My memory, my pattern recognition became a superpower. I was like the pawn who strategized to get to the other side while soaking up all the lessons along the way and watching the moves of my opponents. I evolved as I gained mastery over the capacity of each piece. I developed executive function skills to know what move to make and when to make it. So on some level, I had become the commander of my own life playing this game of chess. And like the all-capable king, guiding each piece to his ultimate fate, avoiding the dreadful surrender of a checkmate, my mind expanded, and I began to get serious about my grades, about college, about my future. If I could learn this highly sophisticated game of chess, well then I could pretty much handle anything in the game of life. But more importantly, I knew that chess can help others. You see, my youth experience was not an anomaly. There were plenty of directionless kids who were vulnerable to making poor life decisions like me. When the path forward is unclear, the future is uncertain. And as a young adult who felt all of these things and more, chess was a critical pathway for me, and I wanted to share it with others. Chess morphed into a family affair as we became a business called Chess Tutors. We teach in local schools. We summer camps. We work with inner-city students. We utilize creative learning methods such as songs, poems, and stories, and humor. And with the vision and the leadership of my brother, Rasheme Ellington, the Duke of Chess. And my sister, Sister Niche, utilizing her musical talents, we put together a captivating program with catchy songs for each piece. You want to hear it? Have you read about the rook? He makes all the pieces look as he moves across the board. He slips, he slides, he dips, he glides, and the king can't move past his sword. Now, one day he was sliding down the way. He caught the bishop trying to steal his moves. He tapped him on his head, and this is what he said: "You only move in a diagonal groove, dude." The bishop cried. He tried to run and hide because that tap hurt his pride. So he said to the rook, "I didn't mean to be a crook. I like that up, down, side to side." That's how he moves. He moves up, down, side to side. I said up, down, side to side. I can't hear you. Up, down, side to side. I said up, down, side to side. Stop right there. You see, the aim of our approach is to help students understand the necessity of mastering their own thoughts, emotions, words, and actions, and to ultimately become great stewards of their own lives. And we've seen it work time and time again, where students grow up, they learn to problem solve, to see patterns, to identify strengths and weaknesses, and build personal capacity to support wins in other aspects of their lives. And teachers tell us all the time, that students who learn chess, they become better listeners. They shift from erratic to focused behaviors. They develop self-discipline, self-awareness. They gain confidence. And the uninvolved go to eager learners. A former student of ours by the name of Duran had this message to share at his elementary graduation speech. He said, "In life, sometimes you have to sacrifice one thing for something more important. In chess, you may have to sacrifice your pawn or your queen." He said, "In my life, I had to sacrifice playing video games so that I could get excellent grades on my report card." I know we want all our kids to say that. He said, "I'm going to learn everything I can so that I can earn everything I can. I will be successful, one smart chess move at a time." There are so many stories about the transformative power of chess. And the research actually backs it up as well. Just recently, the National Institute of Health and National Library of Medicine study identified that the benefits of learning and playing chess include improved focus, visualization, foresightedness, and the ability to handle multiple considerations simultaneously. In parts of other countries like India, Russia, Armenia, chess is a mandatory aspect of their curriculum because the teachers, the parents, and the students all embrace its benefits. Adults, we didn't leave you out. Chess is beneficial for people of all ages. Evidence shows that across the board, it helps improve memory, serves as effective therapy, increases concentration, exercises the brain, and aids in stress management. My dad, Rasheme Ellington, an elite chess player for over 50 years, always says, "The battle is won and lost in the mind. And that triumph and disaster are two imposters, one just as deceiving as the other. And we must learn to treat them both the same." Well, chess is a battle of the minds, a mental jousting, a non-contact martial arts match involving cognitive athleticism that builds the brain muscles. It's a mental gymnasium. So imagine what the world would be like if everyone played chess. A world where possibilities are inspired, risks are rewarded, perspectives are shared, and other people's points of views are considered. Where setbacks become comebacks and next steps are mapped out with forethought and precision. Where mistakes are valued as learning opportunities and failure is redefined as a tool for learning and growth. Imagine what type of leaders that we can create for tomorrow if chess were more integral in our families, communities, and in our country. A world where we practice listening to one another, where we plan out our next moves together, and we make sure that our actions count, where we unleash our greatness and look to solve some of the most significant issues facing our society. Now that's how you checkmate life. Now what do we have to lose? So dream big like the pawn. Be the commander of your own chessboard of life. It's your move. Make it count. Thank you.